Hey everyone, Privyet everyone, good to see you here, and welcome everyone to this happy Saturday actually edition of my Berlin to Beijing flight. It's great to have you all here. We're outside of the city of Novosibirsk, or New Siberia, located in Siberia, Russia, Russia's third largest city actually, and we're here at Yeltsovka Airport at uniform Nickel Nickel Echo. And it's great to have you all here today. So before we get start flying, let's go over a bit of the chat. Good day, Raleigh Mall. Good day to you. Only a couple more days left to the Australia World Update, and I am very, very excited for you, Raleigh Mall. And I'm really excited for what you're gonna come up with. For the Charles Kingford stuff. It's gonna be amazing, especially that you are the expert of all things Australian aviation history. Theo Profasi, good to see you. We're heading to. I'll show you the flight plan in a bit. And we're in Mother Russia, and that's correct. But we're not going to be flying the 757 actually. And Nightsep, good to see you here. Nice to see everyone. Nice to see having all you guys here. So a bit of the flight plan today is I have this little nav map for everyone to see. So our nav map, we're gonna take off here from Yeltsova. We're gonna take off and fly 106 nautical miles to the 48 degrees to the place known as Taiga, the city of Tega. Tega, apparently. Then from Tega, we'll be heading to Barnisk, and then 92 nautical miles. This way, we're going to go near the Chula River. We'll be visiting a place next to Ochinisk. And then finally, we'll reach our final destination today at Yemelyannovo Airport at Uniform Nickel Kilo Lima, right outside of the city of Krasnoyarsk. And that's what we're going to do today. We're also going to be visiting quite a few other places here on the flights. Most notably, we're going to be visiting the Kuznik Basin, and we're going to be following through the Trans-Siberian Railway. And speaking about the Trans-Siberian Railway, that's going to be the main topic for today's flight. I usually talk about all the places we're going to be flying over, and that's the railway we're going to be following for most of the journey. So, now, Leo, we're not flying the 757. I'm a GA pilot. I'm a general aviation, not a commercial pilot. So, instead, let me show you what I'm actually going to be flying today. Friends, all good to see you in the chat. So this is actually an add-on plane, but you can easily get this in the Microsoft official marketplace. And this here is one of the classic aviation planes in history. I think, and this is the plane we've been taking for our entire journey. This is the Junkers Ju-52. For those who don't know, the Junkers Ju-52 was first flew in 1932 and has been a staple airliner for the European market for much of the 30s and 40s. Produced by Hugo Junkers. This is a tri-engine low-wing monoplane that's made up of corrugated duraluminum, which gives it a somewhat light but still pretty durable airframe. And this thing is an extremely versatile plane. You can do lots of different things for it. You can do airliner flights with it, but you can also take this into the small bush trips all around the world, due to the fact this thing can take off and land at less than 1,200 feet, which is most of the bush trips around the world. And obviously, the other reason is, in real life, the German pilots flew the Junkers G24, which is actually just an earlier version of Junkers Evolution. So this basically is we're flying this thing's much younger, more powerful brother, if you know what I mean. So definitely a very interesting plane. We're gonna get into the chat, obviously. So we're gonna get into the cockpit here. Now the cockpit here obviously is German. To be fair, I mean this is the closest I'm gonna get to the G24. Is flying the 1939 version. We're gonna go around 120 knots today. Gonna take a bit of our time. Thankfully, the checklist on this is pretty simple. Um, um, Battery, idle, parking brake on. Don't need to worry about pitot heat today. It's not that cold out here today. Check, check, check. All that's already been checked. Starter master. Boom. Then we get to the primer and Shaw valve. Boom. And then we open one of the more unique things is this wobble pump. The wobble pump is definitely a unique part, but the wobble pump lets us help with the engines 1 and 3, which is the two exterior engines on this. I'm gonna go ahead and move those two there. There's engine number 3's magneto. Then we turn it on from them. All right, that's engine number 3. We nearly do the same thing here. Both. Okay, we got that. Move to FRA. Close this. Close the wobble pump. That'll be close. Then we get started with engine 2. We move this to start. So the major difference with this one is we also have to turn on the fuel pump. Both. That's checked. That's checked. Fuel pump is going to be off. Going for the space procedures. Check. Engine delay. Okay. Jaw valve is there, and there you go. That's how we get the engine started on the Yonkers. It's actually somewhat of an easy plane to get all the stuff working for it. Nav lights, beacon lights, strobe lights, plane lights. There you go. Turn off the parking brake, and we're gonna get back on the runway. Nice and easy. This plane doesn't take much to get to the runway. I see Count Zepp's with me here. Now, if you guys don't know, if you're new to this, Count Zepp's the one who helped me with this whole journey. I also... Oh, I see Raleigh Mall here. Oh, it's Raleigh Mall. I see you join with me, Raleigh. And there's also Count Zepp, and then there's friends all in the Kodiak. Nice, we got a nice entourage of people coming here today. It's great to have all you guys here today. I really appreciate it. We're just going to go on to runway 01. Now, our altitude for this leg, the max safe altitude is 3,000 feet. But for the first two waypoints, we can head up actually to 2,000 feet. We'll be safe there. Okay, on the parking brake. I'm going to increase the takeoff trim to 0.3 and a stage of flaps. There. Alright, so we'll get ready to go take this thing off. I'm going to put around RPM. I think that's good. Put into the green here. Off. Once I reach around 120, we'll be pretty good to take off. 130. Pull back, pull the yoke, and it's off. Like I said, the Junkers is quite the capable plane. We're safe to pull up on the flap. We don't need much flaps on this thing. So we're gonna probably circle around the runway to make sure everyone here is taken off. There's Zepp, there's volleyball. Here's friend to all. See that you're up. Now everyone's up. That's awesome that everyone managed to make its way up. Now we're gonna head 106 nautical miles, and we're gonna be going to a 43 heading. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to my thing in 48. I'm not gonna use autopilot, but rather I'm gonna use the heading bug to help the turn, keep me in the right heading. If you know what I mean. 40. There it is. And there we go. 120 knots is more than enough for this journey. There. But thanks for coming around, everyone. I know I don't usually stream Saturdays, but I actually had a good reason to stream this Saturday because, you see, Allison Johnson moved her flight to Sunday due to, well, with Captain Rash, what's going on with his family. So the earliest date she can actually stream again is Sunday. And since Allison's streams happened an hour before mine, I kind of asked her to, if it's okay to swap dates. And she had no issue with it. In fact, I'm glad that we managed to swap things out and make things work out. So I can still have my flight here today at my time, and Allison can still do hers. There's that. Now when you look at the picture that's following me today, counts up volleyball. I know Frental's probably a little ahead in the... And Frental's involved is in the Kodiak, which is in the main plane. It's pretty amazing that all you guys are here. The sound of that Yonkers. That Yonkers has such a good sound. Let me do something pretty quickly. Well, it's because I got push talk radio set up. Yeah, I love the Yonkers. Yonkers has been a favorite of mine in the sim since it came out. It's always been a favorite of mine. It's a joy to fly, easy to fly, lots of history. It's got tons of character. So yeah, I got push truck radio set up on this, so we can actually use this for the flight today. If we encounter any landmarks, I actually have them in my PUI landmarks, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna really turn on the audio so much. Hey, Sergeant Staff. Hey, what's up, Sergeant Staff? Good to see you today. I hope your day's going well, Sergeant Staff. I know probably during this time you're probably getting me to get some sleep. You just woke up. Yeah. I know you're pretty busy. Oh, you're actually woke. You just woke up. No, it's good to see you here. Yeah, you work really early. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Sergeant Staff, I'm glad you're doing well. Our flight crew for today, Rolling Mall 9, a well-known Australian aviation expert. Count Zepp, the one who's helped me set up this entire journey. And then a good friend of mine to the channel, friends all with us in the Cody app. With Tundra tires. Yeah, the Tundra tires would come in handy if it was snowing. But even then, Tundra tires are still pretty good to have on the Kodiak. I'm going to get back to the cockpit. We're going to see if we can find that railway. So basically, I'm quite interested in the Fuga Magister. Now, I saw Murph fly that plane yesterday. Definitely a very unique little jet, that's for sure. I've seen a lot of jets. I haven't been around any streams lately. What's been happening? Well, for me, I have actually completed halfway through my journey, Sergeant Staff. Last Sunday. Allison actually was supposed to stream today, but with Captain Ratchet's issues, she moved it to Sunday, so that's why I'm streaming here today. Hugo Murphy just flew the Fuga Magister yesterday, last night. Quite an interesting jet. I even did still fun in the Fuga. Yeah, the Fuga definitely is an interesting jet. Oh, actually, speaking about the Goose, Fabio flew that, I think 2 days ago. He revealed the big radios Goose. That thing actually looks really interesting. I'm really interested in how the Goose performed, because that is a plane I am actually excited about. And then obviously Microsoft MSFS they did their official Q&A. They did their Q&A a couple days ago, and they not only revealed the rest of the Australia World Update, they also revealed World Update 8. That's going to come out in March, and that's going to be Spain and Portugal. And they're going to bring their new local legends plane as well from Iberia, the Dorner DOJ flying boat, which is the plane that was used in the 1926 transatlantic flight from Spain to Brazil. Which I think is pretty cool as well. I'm really excited for that World Update. I think Spain is a really good place to fly in the sim. Spain is absolutely beautiful. So I'm excited for that. And then they also and also in addition, Asobo is also bringing in with Carinado to bring in the Beechcraft Model D17 Stagger Wing, which I think is a really cool thing. They're bringing the Stagger Wing into the sim, which I think it's really cool that they're actually bringing a Stagger Wing. Which I think is awesome. And they also added some more sim improvements as well from the Asobo presentation, including prop wash, feathering, weight turbulence, and more with Sim Update 8, which I'm pretty excited for it, to be quite honest. I know some people are a little hesitant because the whole like things breaking, and that's kind of true. But to be fair, a lot of games have had this issue. Microsoft Flight Simulator is not new to this whole thing as well. Yeah, the stagger one's going to be awesome. It's going to be made by Coronado. Now, I don't usually buy Coronado planes, but I'm hoping that they actually update this thing consistently. Yeah, Stagger Wing has got lots of history with it, so I'm quite interested to see what they do. So, in the notes for today, we're crossing the railway line, and we're going to be following that. And basically, the area we're going to be following the line at is going to be a place called the Kutzneck Basin. Now, this area is known as an important coal mine region, in the sense that it's actually got some of the most extensive coal deposits anywhere in the world. And those coal areas cover an area of over 10,000 square miles, and it can reach a depth of to 5,905 feet. And apparently, they said there's an estimate of around 725 million tons of coal deposits, which is a lot. And this basin was extremely important during World War II, as Joseph Stalin moved a lot of the important industries into the basin. And during the Second World War, during Stalin's rule under the 5-year plan, it became a center for the production of iron and steel, zinc, aluminum, machinery, and chemicals as well. So this area is extremely important economically to Russia back in the day. Yeah, I think the beach crab is going to be awesome. The good news is that this flat terrain will be in the past once we reach the end of this leg. Because once we get to the next leg, we'll be heading our way to Arias. Yeah, the scenery looks quite nice now. Now once we get to the more forested areas, the hills, the scenery here is actually going to look really good. And I like flying over the Siberian countryside. So I'm hoping you all are having a good week so far. I hope you guys have big plans for the weekend, because for me at least, I'm going to be heading out later tonight with family. And then Sunday, gotta fly with Allison on the next leg of her Amelia Earhart. Okay, Viperstrike, you said you need to get some on-air stuff done. No worries. No worries about getting on-air stuff. You now see everyone's still here. Volleyball, count Zeph, break all. We're supposed to have crap water, so I keep on the Skyrim. Oh, Skyrim. Oh yeah, Skyrim, of course. Skyrim's a classic. You can mod the crap out of Skyrim. Skyrim, the thing about Skyrim is Skyrim's been modded so much. Yeah, Skyrim, I should still get back to Skyrim at some point. If I ever quit Skyrim, I play as the, Khajiit. Khajiit Stealth Archer. / Thief. That's what I play, Skyrim as. Pretty cool, if you ask me. You haven't flown in days. Yeah, you've probably been really busy with work. And Sappy's probably done something similar. Because he's been really busy as well. There are over 44,000 mods out. Yeah, I mean, the game is over 11 years old. It's heading toward 11 years old. Yeah, a game that old has that many mods. I still can't believe Bethesda is still making new versions of the game. Yeah, I talk to Seppi every day almost. Seppi's a good guy to talk to, and I know he's been really busy. I also did see the video for the Concorde, the DC Designs Concorde that's going to come out by the end of February. That thing looks pretty exciting if you ask me. I know some people think it's a two-pointer, but I mean... but it's a supersonic two-pointer. How many of those supersonic two-pointers have we have in the sim? None. We were talking about opening a FBO at Fairbanks. I'm doing some flights. Ah, nice. Fairbanks, the good old capital. Fairbanks, one of the well-known cities of Alaska. I know Fairbanks can get really cold, because it's deep into the interior of Alaska. It's the largest and coldest city in the interior of Alaska. Yeah, fixed base of operations. Yeah, that's what an FBO. Let's look at our two-tone working panel. Tracker. Yes, they added this tracker aircraft. Oh, there I am. So yes, if you have the two-tone Murphy panel, you can actually track our location. Yep. Now I see you use that too. Which I think is really cool. I like this thing has a little tracker built into the panel. Alongside weather and airport information too. Quite nice on it. So that way I can track where you're all at just in case. If the servers start acting up, at least I know where you guys are located. There's Raleigh. There's Zep. I think above those in a... Yeah, below us in the turboprop is the mighty Kodiak with print all. Yeah, over here to our left is our railway line to our left. So our first waypoint is going to be at a place called Tega. Which is a small town in the Kemerovo Oblast with a population of around 25,000 people. And it's actually, believe it or not, despite being a small town, Tega is actually got one of the biggest railway junctions in the entire country. As the Taiga railway station is very important for the Siberian Railway. And lots of different trains cross at Taiga, including from Moscow to Vladivostok, Moscow to Beijing, all the different Trans-Siberian Railway routes. They also got other railways, like the Tomsk, Krasnoyarsk, Abakan, and more. So that's definitely something pretty interesting about Taiga. Just looking around the environment. I know it's flat right now, but I mean, here's the thing. Let me go back to the map. Talk. But I mean, it gets much better once we head to the next leg. We get actually some hills. The next couple legs will be much better as we will go through some of the hills and trains down over here. Then the leg afterwards will be much further, and we get much more science train down over here until we hit Beijing. But yeah, we'll get to more science train later on. This will be the last leg in the wild that we actually had to move flat terrain. So, one of my major things I do want to talk about, one of the things I did want to mention, next week is actually going to be my birthday. Believe it or not, it's actually next Sunday. This avoid fly high territories when possible. They follow the railway lines, and they had no heading. That's correct. That's correct, they have to fly the railway lines. Thanks for all, but it's not until the 6th. But thank you for the kindness. Is it your B-Day? No. No, it's on February the 6th. That's my birthday. I'm planning on doing the next leg of the Berlin-Beijing flight on Saturday, maybe? I don't know if I want to do it Sunday or Saturday, because I want to do a World War II Army Airfields flight on my birthday. So I may have to move it Saturday. It'll have to be depending on how long Allison's going to be flying as well, schedule it. Okay, I'll watch Discord. No worries. Now, once we get through Tega, I'll probably get started on my this week's power slideshow. Yeah, so far I think the data here is much better than it was over the past leg. Hey, Okandu, good to see you. I'm in the Junkers Ju-52. We're flying across Russia, Okandu. So, we're doing our leg here. We took off from Novosibirsk. We're gonna head all the way up to Pega, Marinesk, Achinsk, and then we'll head to our destination here, Krasnoyarsk in Russia. I'm recreating the 1926 Berlin-Beijing flight that was done by Deutsche Lufthansa back in the 1920s. So, it's good to see you. Yeah, Russia can be very bland. However, thankfully, next leg will be much better, because next leg will be going through some of the more hillier terrain. But the one I'm most interested is when we get from here all the way to Chita. Because we'll be going through, like, Biakal, and quite a few of the hills located near Mongolia. So that's why I'm not really that worried, Okandu. Trust me, things will get better. The river here is called the Tome, and the town is called Jurga. Nice observation here. Actually, Siberia is actually much better than most parts of Russia, though. It isn't nearly as flat. That's because I've done flying around. Now, the Tome River is around 514 miles long. It flows through the Abakan Range, northward towards the Krasnoyarsk Basin. It joins the Ob River that's around 50 31 miles north of Tomsk. And heading towards a new tour site I've never been to. This should be fun. Woo! Nice. Nice one, Sergeant Staff. Now, come flying with us today, Okandu, is Volleyball 9. Friends of all. And I believe is he below or not? Oh yeah, and the one who helped me with this whole journey to begin with, he's Count Zepp. He's Knight Zepp over there. He's the one who helped me with the journey. I got a few people flying with me today. And also, for this week's topic, Okandu, we're also doing the Trans-Siberian Railway. The railway that started a lot of this whole journey to begin with. I'm gonna get back to the cockpit for a bit, just so I can just turn this thing back to the right direction. Cracker? Though I don't blame you, Can-Do, for saying it's a little bland. It's a lot of Russia's similar to Indiana when you go west of Russia. It gets to be like Indiana, the state of Indiana, if you can understand. But a lot of Siberia, especially towards the east of it, you're gonna see way more hills, especially towards the south and the east. You would see a lot more hills and stuff. Oh, the China River State reservation area. Yeah, we spent weeks in Russia. It's miserable. Yeah, I understand. I completely understand. So, I think you're flying to Papua New Guinea today. Do some more Papua New Guinea stuff. I still haven't done a stream over Papua New Guinea yet. At some point, I'm going to have to do a stream in Papua New Guinea. It's just that everyone's doing a lot of flights in there. That's probably why I haven't done it. Get PNG en route to Australia. Actually, you'll be heading to Australia at a good time because they're doing the Australian War update. Be different, Viperstrike. Yeah, I'll be different. Yeah, New Caledonia is nice too. Yeah, not a lot of people fly around Australia a lot. I definitely I'm probably gonna do that next Wednesday. I'm probably gonna use the Fokker F7 that's gonna come and do some. Maybe I should probably ask Volleyball this. And see if there's any historical flight that Kingsford Smith did. Just a simple short flight that's not too long in it. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I'm really excited for Australia. I think Australia would be fantastic. So I think ahead of us should be Tega. The Tega should be ahead of us right here. There it is. That was likely in a P-38. Yeah, you don't ever get to embrace the scenery in a P-38. You don't get enough time for it. Don't get me wrong, the P-38 is an amazing plane. You just don't get a lot of time. Ah, friend to all. Yep. February 6th, Britannica. The Ascension of... Yeah, my birthday? I'll probably mention that on my stream next Sunday. If you're interested, I have a flight plan for New Caledonia. Yeah, definitely do that. And post it on the bush flight ideas, on the Viper bush flight ideas, and I'll definitely send it to the Discord. Like I said, I'm always interested in new ideas. Yeah, Newcastle. Sorry, mate, you have to go 2 a.m. No, thank you so much, Raleigh Mall. Thank you for coming to fly with me today. I really appreciate you coming to be here today. Hey, Dinky Decimus, I'm doing great. Actually, speaking of which, Dinky, I did see your new logo, actually. I just saw you have a new logo, today. And I have to admit, that looks really nice, Dinky, with the Husky. That's a really cool new logo for you. Catch you next stream, Raleigh Mall. Yep. I'll catch you there too. I did, yes. Yeah, New Caledonia is nice. You should definitely check it out as well. So Dinky, we're heading, this is leg 8 from Novosibirsk to Krasnoyarsk. And we're heading, that's going to be leg 8. We're approaching the first waypoint here at Tega, home to one of the largest railway stations in all of Russia. So we'll be heading there as well. Checking out the station. Looking great there, Viper. Unfortunately, like I said, the issue with a lot of this area of Russia, there's not a lot of great photo data here. And the major reason for this is that Russia, there's not a lot of people living in Siberia, so the photo data isn't that great. Also, Dikey, you do have your flight with Zara Rutherford today, 1900 Zulu. You're gonna finally so you'll be flying the last 2 legs of the Zara Rutherford journey today, which I'm very excited for you to finally finish the Zara Rutherford flight. There it is. There's the railway stations. There it is. There's all the railroad stations here. 5 months of flying. I know that's pretty amazing. Congratulations on getting you around the world with the Zara Rutherford. These are all the railway stations that go into the railway station. All the different trains and such. And they go through all sorts of different routes throughout Russia. Pretty cool. And speaking about railway, we're gonna head to 77 degrees. There. That way I get my heading right. That way I know where I'm at. Yeah, Titsy under me. Yeah, that is Tika. Be right back, and cooking, keeping the dogs away from the pots and pans. No worries, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the topic for today. Today's topic is going to be the Trans-Siberian Railway. Now, before we talk about the Trans-Siberian Railway, there's something else I do want to mention. Is the history of this railway. Now, this railway has a very long history itself. But before we talk about the Trans-Siberian Railway, there is another route that used to take place there back in the day. And this is the old Siberian Route. Now, the Siberian Route was also known as the Moscow Highway, or the Great Highway. This was an historic route that connected European Russia to Siberia and China. Now, the Siberian Route was decreed by the Tsar way back then, and it wasn't even finished until the mid-19th century, which is the mid-1800s. Now, previously, transport in Siberia was mostly done by the rivers, mainly the Siberian river routes that happened all throughout Russia during this time. There's multiple different river routes that were there back in the day. There is multiple different routes in the south, including over the Urals from the Volga, the Ob Basin, the Yenisei and Lena basins, and the Amur. These are all sorts of different river routes. There's also a northern route as well, but however, the river routes themselves declined due to the fact that with all the animals and such, and the Siberian Route replaced the rivers, especially the fact unlike the rivers, unlike the Siberian Route, you don't have to worry about the freezing water getting frozen in the Russian way. The Russian settlers arrived through a lot of Siberia through the route. And it started in Moscow as the Vladimir Highway, and it passed through different cities, including Murom, Pozamediansk, Kazan, Kurgur, Yekaterinburg, Kievan, Tobolsk, Kara, Kansk, Tomsk, and more. And reached all the way to Irkutsk for much of the route back in the day. As well. It remained a vital artery connecting Moscow and Europe until the last decades of the 19th century, where the Trans-Siberian Railway and the Amur Cart Road replaced the old route. So now we talk about the Trans-Siberian Railway, the main topic for this flight. Now, what is exactly the Trans-Siberian Railway? Well, the Trans-Siberian Railway consists of a network of different railways, and what they do is it allows Western Russia to be connected to the Russian Far East. And you wonder, why would Russia need something like this? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Russia is absolutely massive. It's the largest country in the entire world, for gosh sakes. I mean, if you want to compare Russia's size to something like the United States, it's 1.7 times larger than the United States in land area, which is just, it's massive. I mean, you need something to connect Western Russia to East. But the railway is the way to solve the issue. It is the world's longest railway with a length of over 9,289 kilometers, or 5,772 miles, from the capital of Moscow to Vladivostok, the most important port in the Pacific part of Russia. aka the main Pacific port of Russia. Now, the history of this railway is quite long itself. Now, the history of this goes all the way back to the late 19th century. Now, the main issue back then was that Siberia wasn't really well developed, and that was due to the poor transport links within the region. Aside from the Trans-Siberian Route, good roads were pretty rare for wheel transports. And the main routes during that time, the river routes, only were good about for 5 months of the year until the cold came, and then basically the water would have froze. Now they did have some steamboats, but they weren't really around to the 1870s. And like I said, with the cold winters and stuff freezing the water, it just wasn't that great. Soon, the first railway projects emerged after the completion of the St. Petersburg-Moscow Railway in 1851, and one of the first projects during that time was the Irievsk-Chita project that was proposed by the American entrepreneur Harry Collins. And they viewed it as a way to connect Moscow to the Amur River and specifically and consequently the Pacific Ocean. And originally those plans were supposed to happen until they couldn't, because they didn't have the materials do it. So it took all the way to the 1880s when the government of Russia finally decided to work on these railways. And in addition to the route that was constructed during this time, they also had alternative projects. A southern route that would get us to Kazakhstan all the way into Mongolia, and the northern route, which will let you go through the north. Now, the line was divided into 7 different sections, and most of the work was done simultaneously with the labor of 62,000 men, with financial support from one of the Europe's leading financial, Baron Henry Montagu. The cost of it was around 35,000 British pounds, and was finished at a cost of 900,000 pounds less than the estimate. Hey! Coffee House has just followed the channel. Coffee House, good to see you. It's been a while, Coffee House. How have you been? You'll be pleased to learn that there's actually a KFC in Russia. Yeah, well, I'm heading off course. Good to see you, Coffee House. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Coffee House, it has been a long time. Yeah, this is the historical recreation of the 1926 Berlin-Beijing flight. Now, Kelton's up here is the one who helped me with the whole plan. He was without coffee, I believe. You know, Coffee House, you being the 249th follower, I'm only one away from 250. Oh, this is pretty insane. Well, back on topic, and that leads us to the construction of this railway. So on March 9th, 1891, the Russian government, they issued an imperial rescript, which means, in which it announced its intention to create the railway across Siberia. In a May 19th that year, the Tsarevich at the time, Nicholas, who was later the final Russian Tsar, Nicholas II, inaugurated the construction of the railway in Vladivostok. Now, one of the major issues was Lake Baikal. Now, Lake Baikal was around over 400 miles long and around 1,500 meters deep, and until that railway was built, the line ended on either side of the lake. So in order to actually solve that, they had to bring in two ice-breaking ferries, the SS Biakal and the SS Angara. And what they've done is that those two, they built the link that took 4 hours for them to finally link up the railways. And if you all want to know what that's kind of like, let me show you what that railway looks kind of like. Let me get the image. Let me show you what it looks like. Here you go. Hey, Planet Neutral, good to see you. I'm doing great. So this is the Biakal Railway. For those who don't know, we might actually see it during our not this upcoming leg, but the next one. We will be seeing this railway, and this is an absolutely stunning piece of railway. And it's one of the great unique engineering achievements. Built along the side of the lake. And I gotta say, it looks absolutely stunning. Like, the scenery is so picturesque. It's incredible. In Kodiak, tracing the Trans-Siberian Railway and drinking coffee house. Good to see you. Yeah, it's so good to finally for you to catch my streams. Yes, it's ferry, F-E-R-R-Y. Yeah, that's the Biakal Railway that I was mentioned about. So once that was built, once that railway was complete, the official railway was finally completed in June 21st, 1904. But even though it was still completed, the ferries were still on reserve until 1916 due to the derailments or the rock falls. And in fact, one of the ones survived, which was the SS Angara, and that's still used as an office and museum there. Now, the effect of this was actually quite big during the time. One of the major effects of the Trans-Siberian Railway was the fact that this was a major part of transporting agriculture, and as a result, a lot of it, and it greatly increased the export of all sorts of wheat. From 1896 to 1913, Siberia exported a total of 501,000 tons of grain and flour annually, which was quite a bit of food, but it gave us plenty of different agriculture. It was also used a lot during the Russo-Japanese War as military traffic and such. It also brought millions of peasant migrants from the western regions of Russia. And between 1906 and 1914, 4 million peasants arrived through Siberia. And that, despite its low speed and low possible weights at the time of the trains, it provided a really important transit route between Europe and East Asia, which is really important. Hey, Dakey Decimus, you have to leave me here. No worries. Thank you so much, Dakey, and I hope that I get to catch you on stream later today. But thank you so much. As well. Now, during the Russo-Japanese War, the Trans-Siberian Railway proved to be a limiting factor in Russia during the war, and the reason was that the railway was only a single track. And as a result, the transit was actually pretty slow, and it limited the capacity of the lines and transit times, which slowed down Russian troops from being supplied. And those supply difficulties led them to have limited troops and supplies, while Japanese forces were able to attack the advance, which proved to be one of the major weaknesses of the railway. After the Russian Revolution, this railway served as a very important vital line for the communications of the Czechoslovak Legion and the Allied armies of the Whites during the Russian Civil War. And eventually parts of the railroad were blown up by the partisan fighters of the Bolsheviks, especially in the region between Krasnoyarsk and Chita, and they blew up a lot of the railway tracks. As well. Now, during the Second World War, this railway played an important part for the supplying of the fighting powers of Europe. Mainly, this was due to the fact that in 1939, the USSR and Germany signed a non-aggression pact, and it's infamously called the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And due to that non-aggression pact, Germany could get reliable economic links between Germany and Japan. And one commodity in particular was natural rubber, which Japan was able to source from its southeastern territories they got, particularly French Indochina, during that time. As of March 1941, 300 tons of this material on average traversed through this railway every day on its way to Germany. According to one analysis, 5,800 tons of rubber were transitioned on the railway between Manchukuo all the way out from Southeast Asia to Japan. A number of Jews and anti-Nazis even used it to escape persecution, including one famous mathematician named Kurt Gödel, alongside Heinz Bernhard. And several thousand Jewish refugees were able to make the trip thanks to the Japanese visas, allowing them to actually escape. However, things changed though when Germany infamously broke the pact by invading the Soviet Union. And as a result, they couldn't exactly trade to Japan. Instead, they had to use fast Russian ships. But the USSR got a lot of the Lend-Lease supplies from the US. So the Soviet Union used that railway to great effect, as the railway was used to connect the US to the USSR by using the Pacific Route, which takes us to Vladivostok. And accordingly, in fact, this railway accounted for much of the freight as the North Atlantic to Arctic and Iranian railway routes combined, which is actually pretty crazy. And of course, this railway also transported a lot of the Soviet troops from the Far East to take part in the counteroffensive, the Battle of Moscow. And later east from Germany to Japan for the Soviet-Japanese War. So this railway played a big role in World War II, which I think is pretty cool. The fact this railway has a very long history. And finally, the Trans-Siberian Road in today's world. But what's the railway like in today's world? Well, this thing is still, Trans-Siberian Railway is still really important. It's the most important link connecting Russia to the Far East still, and around 30% of all Russian exports travel on this line. Today, this railway carries around 200,000 containers per year to Europe, and as of 2010, 60 million tons of traffic between Russia and China. Hey, Blue Man Battery, hello. Good to see you here. We're on leg 8 of our journey. From our Berlin to Beijing flight, we're heading to the city of Krasnoyarsk. So it's good to have you come here today. And I'm talking about the Trans-Siberian Railway, the railway line we had to follow through most of the journey. So good to have you here. Now, in 2009, Russian Railways announced they were doing a plan to do the Trans-Siberian Railway in 7 days. Oh good, so no China. Yeah, we're in Russia right now, but we are going to visit China way later into the leg now. It's going to be way later into the flight, so into the journey. And they had to spend $11 billion to make it possible to get the goods in just 7 days for the whole railroad, which is around 9,000 kilometers as well. So now let's talk about the different routes for the trip. Now, there are 3 major routes I want to talk about for the Trans-Siberian Railroad. The 3 routes are the Trans-Siberian, Trans-Manchurian, and Trans-Mongolia. So the Trans-Siberian Route is the most well-known of all the routes, and it travels around 5,772 nautical miles. And this one starts from Moscow into Vladivostok. And it goes through quite a few routes, including to Kirov, Perm, Ekaterinburg, Omsk, Novosibirsk, Krasnoyarsk, and into Iryas. And then however, the road starts to deviate once we get there as well. And we go all the way to Vladivostok. We had to go around Manchuria, the Manchurian region of China, into Vladivostok. The second route is the Trans-Manchurian route, which is very similar. We go into Chita, but it splits off from Chita, and we had to go through Manchuria. And believe it or not, this is actually the route that we're taking for the trip. For this flight, we actually are mostly following this route, which is in yellow. And this one's actually a bit shorter by 200 miles. And then the more recent one is the final route. It still heads to Beijing, but we go through Mongolia instead, from Ulan-Ude, and that's where it breaks off. So that's kind of the final route. We're mostly going to follow the Trans-Manchurian route. This is why a lot of the data, China wants to support Russia for logistics and many foreign sat data. Basically. So the main railway we're going to be following was built by the Chinese Eastern Railway. Now, during this time, the Chinese Eastern Railway was constructed from 1897 to 1902 using a concession that was originally from the Qing Dynasty. And what this allowed to do was it allowed to move Chita with Vladivostok, but also through the old Russian port at the time, Port Arthur, which later became the Chinese city Fushan, which used to be the good one known as Port Arthur. And there were 3 different branches. The western branch became the Harbin-Manzhouli Railway. There's an eastern branch that connects from Harbin to Sukhanhai, and then the southern branch actually connects it to Beijing, and that's the one we're going to be following, is the southern branch. Now, some of this was taken control by the Japanese during the time. As well. You got a lot of ground to cover in the slow plane. Yeah, it's slow. But we got plenty of ground to cover. I'm assuming maybe better to over known points and died. Yeah, they had to do this old dead reckoning. And here's only 2 blue mana. They also had, they thankfully did this in the summer and not in the winter, because if it was winter, they would have had to deal with the Russian cold. And trust me, we do not want to deal with the Russian winter. They're brutal for a reason. For a reason. So yeah, I assume everything becomes winter eventually. Yeah. Seriously, I'd assume it's dead. Yeah, most likely she probably died in that. But that was the old Chinese Eastern Railway. So that's going to be my slideshow for a bit, and that's going to be there until we reach to close enough to Krasnoyarsk, and that would be our final slideshow. That's it for the Trans-Siberian Railway. We're going to fly through our second waypoint of the trip. We're going to be flying to... We're going to fly near Mariinsk. So that's where we're going to be... Which is a Russian town that has a population of around 40,000 people. It was founded in the 18th century as the village of Yiskoy, and it was renamed Mariinsk after Emperor Maria, the consort of Tsar Alexander II. 1 year later. So not much going on, but that's just a little details and hints of information. This is what year? This is 1926. This is 1926. It's interwar. You got triggers from the nav guy and chose death. You better be careful not to mention that. We gotta keep it PG, okay? Blue Banner. I try to keep this family friendly, please. We should reach Mariinsk at 1600. So yeah, 4 p.m. We try and keep it true to the notes. We should reach Mariinsk at 1400. So 1400, okay? Now 1400 is 2 p.m. Not 4, 2 p.m. Try to get these times right. I'll PM you. All does Banff. I've already done Banff Airport before. I've already flown through Banff National Park, friends all. I just got into this one. But yeah, New Caledonia, I'll definitely keep that in mind. It was 1600. Yeah. Oh, it was 1600. Whoops. Okay, 1600. Okay, you were right. I'm sorry. 1600 is 4 p.m. Try to time conversions pretty well. Yeah, it was the time zone that got him. Yeah, the time zones are definitely changed, especially when you get to the Pacific. There have been lots of time change. There's Marinesk. So I'm gonna get back to the scenery here for a little bit, just for a sec. So we have friends all in the Kodiak, and next up is Lomi, maybe. Here's friends all in the Cody. Nice to see you, friend all. Okay, Zeb's actually on the railway track, Thomas. Oh yeah, Zeb's further to my right, to my left. Yeah, there he is. He's further down below. Yeah, he's on the railway track connecting to Marinesk. Hey, Nathan Gamer! Good to see you, Nathan! Nice to see you here. I can't even do MSF on the East Coast. No cool streamers are here. Like original Chinese railroad track? Yeah, this was back in the 1900s, the East China Route. I'm over the railway. Nice to see you, Nathan. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming to my stream today. We're doing leg 8 of the historic Berlin to Beijing flight. We're heading our way to Krasnoyarsk. So I know the satellite data here isn't great, but to be fair, Russia being such a large country, it's going to be difficult to find really good satellite data. And probably also because Russia's pretty protective over it too, if I had to guess my reasons. There's Marinesk. To our left. Non-lave, somewhat labor. No really cool streamers on the East Coast. Deletes OBS. Oh, that's pretty funny, Coffee House. Human schools are getting heck, even Fabio. This is the East, but I watch the VODs. Yep. God, said any day. Whoa! Who was that? Airlock Doc followed! Yay! Good to see you, Airlock Doc. It's been a long time. And thanks to that, we just cracked the follower goal! 250! We cracked 250. It's a long time no see, Airlock Doc. It's been a while since I've last seen you. I hope you're doing well. So I'm doing the 1926 Berlin to Beijing historical flight. In the Junkers G52. So for those who've been here for the first time, let me show you why about this flight, the origins of it. I'll go all the way back. So, the plane that flew in real life is the Junkers G-24. And the G-24 was introduced in 1925, built by the legendary aircraft designer Hugo Junkers. It was used by Deutsche Lufthansa at the time as its main plane. It could go around 110 knots with a max range of 360 nautical miles. And the reason we picked the Junkers is, I mean, it's designed by the same guy. It's a tri-engine plane like the G-24. And I can cruise it somewhat faster than the max speed though. But the thing of the J-52 is the evolution of the G-24. Very iconic plane. And then the one who did it was Deutsche Lufthansa, built, who was found in 1926. It was the major transporting hub of Germany through the interwar period and World War II. And they'd done one of the first airlines to use night flights during the time. They took off at Tempelhof Airport in Berlin, very iconic airport pre-World War II. As well, one of those iconic pre-World War II airports. Then this is the book that actually covers it. Knightsep was the one who did it, who is right here in the air with me. He actually got the book for it. Im Flugzeug nach Peking, or In a Big Plane to Beijing. This is the book by Dr. Robert Knopf. And this is what, and tail number for one of the planes is DVL3, which you see here on screen. Here. They did it because they wanted a faster way through Europe to Asia without going through Africa and the Middle East. And due to the fact Germany and the USSR had good relations at the time, they two cooperated and they fly in the interior of the USSR. That's why we're flying through Russia. And the route, Berlin to Königsberg, to Smolensk, Moscow, Kazan, Kurgan, Omsk, Viperstrike, Novosibirsk. They were heading to their next destination in Krasnoyarsk. And the next one we're going to be visiting Urias, into Chita, into Harbin, Shenyang, and then Beijing. That's going to be the route for the flight. The book was from 1927, says Knightsep. That's correct. The book was from the very next year for a lot of those people. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff about the journey. And I've already covered everything else. I covered Berlin, I covered all the previous flights, and that's what I've been doing for the entire journey, is having presentations on each of the different places we fly. Like Berlin, I talked about Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, and then Russia, I went deeper into Russian topics. I've talked about Russia's history. I teach people even the basics of the Russian language. That was a fun one. That was my most expensive one. I then covered a little bit about Kazakhstan. And then last week, I covered Russia's musical history. Talked about some of Russia's most famous musical performers and all that. Like Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, and more recently, Alla Pugacheva. And then this week, we just talked about the Trans-Siberian Railway. So, definitely some really interesting topics as well. I always have something interesting to talk about. Captain Seppi's in the house. Captain Seppi, long time no see. Good to see you, Seppi. It's been a long time since I've last seen you. And Seppi, I just cracked, with Airlock Doc's 250 follow, I just cracked 250 followers. I'm halfway up to 300 now. That's insane. So in 1 month, in January, I didn't just go over 200, I went 250. Which is amazing for the channel. To put in perspective, when I first started streaming, in order to reach the 100 follows, it took me all the way to September to do the 100 follows. So I'm already potentially cracking that mark in February, which is going to be insane. So Seppi, it's good to see you. Long time no see. Yes, unfortunately, you worked for the last 26 days straight. Yikes. No worries, Seppi. Your work comes first. I completely understand. But hey, I'm glad you're still here, and as long as you can make the time to say hello and to everyone, I think that's perfectly fine. Don't worry. Don't stress yourself out too much, Seppi. I mean, work should be the #1 priority to do. If you got something doing, don't be afraid to do work. So as an 80s kid, I saw America sanction Russia pretend to starving. Well, I mean, to be fair, there was the boycott of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Hey Dougal, good to see you. Dougal Matavish, sorry I couldn't make today's flight. I hope you're having a great stream. I'm having a great stream, Dougal. I just cracked the 250 followers mark. I know it wasn't easy to step in to shoe save Allison, but thanks for coming here, Dougal. I got Count's with me, and I think Prince All is still somewhere. He's far ahead in the Kodiak. So yeah, I'm doing great today. I talked about earlier the Trans-Siberian Railway. If you guys want me to pull up the Trans-Siberian Railway, I can bring it up for you if you guys want to. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll probably answer some questions. I'll answer to the best of my ability, though. Congrats. Thanks a lot, Dougal. Yeah, it's going great. Yeah, the scenery here is not too bad. Wow, 250. I remember just a few weeks ago we broke 200. Yeah. I mean, you could think one of those being Fabio Grade. I mean, that brought a lot of followers from Fabio Grade as well. But yeah, I've grown a lot since then. It's pretty crazy how fast I've grown. I'm really, really happy for it as well. Like, ever since I've started doing this series, I've grown so much from this series. This series has been a massive success for the channel. It takes one good raid to pop the roof off the place. Yeah. AFK for a few minutes? No worries, dear Zep. No worries. Because I remember, here's the thing, when I did this series, back on December 5th, I know I don't usually count follower counts like big deal, but for me, it's kind of a big deal because I'm somewhat of a smaller stream. I was like at around 160 followers with this. I'm now up to 250. Here we go. December 28th. December 8th was my first Berlin-Beijing flight. I was at 175. I grew crazy to down 250. Like, I mean, through 75 in less than only a few weeks. Hey, Amir Mohammed, you want to see the cockpit? Let me show you the cockpit. Amir Mohammed Utter. This is the Junkers Ju-52. Yeah, this is the Junkers Ju-52. If you notice, Amir, a lot of this is in German. Thankfully, the checklist for this is pretty expansive. Starting this one actually isn't too difficult. At first glance, it may seem tricky, but that's why Asobo did all this checklist. It's a beautiful bird. It flies amazing as well. It is a joy to fly. It's really easy to fly this thing. It also comes with keys, floats, and then there's also a retrofit version which replaces a lot of this with more modern avionics like a VOR pointer and such. You can get this in the marketplace, the MSFS Instant Marketplace, for 15 bucks, and it's also up on Xbox too, so it's accessible for everyone. No worries, Amir. I really appreciate it. I'm more than happy to show you this beautiful plane's cockpit. It's really nice. What's the name of the plane? It is the Junkers Ju-52. Let me show you the plane. It is a Junkers Ju-52. You can get it from the Instant Marketplace. Amir. Yeah, it is a stunning plane. And guess what? For the US, you can get this for $15 US, which is actually very cheap. It's actually quite cheap, and this plane's really high quality. Thank you so much. No, thank you for coming to my channel today. It means a lot. Thanks for the follow, Amir. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. So you're from Iran. Nice. I'm from the United States myself. So it's good to have more people from visiting around the world. You're always more than welcome to. So we're recreating the 1926 Berlin-Beijing flight that was done by Deutsche Lufthansa. We took off from Novosibirsk, we passed through Taiga and Baransk. Now we're heading to Achinsk. And then we'll head into our final destination at Uniform Nickel Kilo Lima, right outside of Krasnoyarsk on our journey. So we're doing a historic recreation, which I am really happy for as well. Yeah, I'm having a great day today. We just cracked the 250 mark, and now Amir, you're now 251. So I really do appreciate it. Today's been a great day. And I'm not alone on this either. Countup's here. He's AFK for a while, and then Friends All joined us with us too. Trans-Siberian scenery is pretty flat, but Siberia is also home to a lot of the trees, in fact. You like the classic planes. DC-6, that's amazing. The DC-6, if you haven't got the DC-6 for PMDG, that plane is amazing. There is one for PMDG. It's on their website. And it's incredible. PMDG DC-6 is bar none probably the most high-detailed plane in the whole simulator. It is amazing. DC-9 and DC-10 analog plane. Yeah, those are pretty nice airliners too. I'm more of the general aviation planes myself, but yeah, I'm a huge sucker for the vintage planes as well. Like, I'm a big fan of the Warbirds, like the Spitfires, Mustangs, D6 Texans. Big fans of those as well. I know the Fokker F Model 7 is going to come out soon for the next World Update. That's going to be awesome. The Antonov AN2 from ATR Simulations is going to come out in the end of February. That's going to be awesome. Lots of great vintage analog planes coming out as well. So I'm very excited for them. And of course, I like my classic push planes too. If you like that sort of stuff in Mirror, you came to the right place. Here's another thing too that's really cool. This thing does have an autopilot. Contrary to believe, this plane actually does want to have. Here. Boom. You turn on the autopilot, and it works only when you're heading. Now, if you're worried about altitude, don't worry, because this plane is really easy to trim, by the way. Really, really, really easy to trim. Thankfully, the trim here is pretty good. If I need to lower altitude, I probably can trim it down. But thankfully, I don't have to worry about altitude here. Around 3,000 feet, you're perfect. Because that's the max altitude for all three legs. And another thing too is, underneath here, I think if I get you can see seats. That's because this thing was an airliner back in the day. Old vintage airliner, and it can actually carry a few seats. And this plane was so notable that it could actually took off and landed from Berlin to Rome in 8 hours. I know as of today, that would take less than an hour or two. But back in the day, that's really impressive though. Back in the day, which was really impressive. And mind you, for that route, they also had to go through the entire of the Alps. That was really, really cool. And that's not the only journey I got planned for this Junkers. I'm taking the retrofit version on a later journey, and I'm going from Miami to Hamburg, and I'm recreating Lufthansa's restoration trip with it to their Hamburg facility to restore it. And that one's going to be plenty fun too. And mind you, the retrofit version sim is modeled after that same plane. And I actually have two books over here. If you guys are curious, let me show you. So, the first one here is, this was written by Peter Blitzschoffer, and this talks about Lufthansa's history with the JA-52. It talks about all their flights within the 1930s, some of the different air routes flown by Lufthansa during this time, all sorts of historical stuff. And it showed that the JA-52 has had an extremely long history, not just with Lufthansa, but it's flown from all over the world. Even in Papua New Guinea, in some of the roughest bush trips in the world, the JA-52 was very proven too. And then this saga of Iron Annie, Martin Hayden, he actually first restored the plane in the 1960s. And he had to put all the new retrofit stuff to meet the regulations at the time. And he used this plane for a lot of the air shows of the 1970s. And it talks about his recounts with the plane. I'm probably going to do it in the summer, do this during the summer, so I can read and put all the PowerPoint stuff. So yeah, these are the two books I have for the Junkers. Definitely very interesting. So I got multiple journeys with let me show you, let's see, the Prindle Knights Ever still with us in the back. We're going pretty quickly, 125 knots. It may not seem like really fast, but back in the day, the guys who did this fight did it at only 90 knots. So we're going quite a bit faster than they did, and that's why they can complete the journey really quickly. In addition, for all those who knew, Knights Up here, which was Count Zepp, he's the one who actually not only has the book, he's the one actually putting all the notes for today's flight plans are provided by him, so he gets a very important as well. So we did pass over Ashnik, and we're going to reach the Genesee River once we reach there. So let me give a few shout-outs to some people I know. First one is Captain Seppi. It's good to see you again. So guys, check him out. He runs the Alaskan Bush Company. He does a lot of cargo missions on air as well. Notice the dude, really fun, down-to-earth content creator. I hope at some point you might get the opportunity to stream again soon. So guys, when he does, don't be afraid to check out Captain Seppi. Then the next person here, who's also here as well, is going to be Coffeehouse. It's great to have you back, Coffeehouse. I know you had some stuff going on, but it's good to have you back, Coffeehouse. It's been a long time. Good to see you, man. But please check out Coffeehouse if you haven't. Really fun and content creator. He was the leader of the Ultralight Army. This guy knew how to fly these ultralights. He once flew the entire country from East Coast to West Coast in the ultralights. Like, anyone that could do it in these small little ultralights has earned my respect. And Coffeehouse is amazing with that. Thank you so much. So those two are the two major shoutouts. I have family in Alaska, says Blue Bear. It's so dog stuff. Ah, really interesting there. Nice. So there it is. Now we're heading to Ashnix. Now this city here, Ashnix, located in the Krasnoyarsk Krai of Russia, which is one of the federal subjects. This town was actually been around. It was actually founded all the way back in 1641 on July 25th. And people have lived in this area from around 20,000 to 20,000 BCE. Some of these ancient caves are even located 1.2 miles east of the city. It was originally built as an ostrog on the Berlin-Beijing River, which is basically a small fort. After the fire of 1683, it's moved to be as a tributary of the Elbe River. It was granted city status in 1782, and it became linked on the Trans-Siberian Railway. Actually, that's not Achnitz. We're actually at Bogotá. But the one we're heading to is not this. It's actually further ahead. I forgot. I probably should recheck this. So guys, if you're curious, I do actually have a Discord, believe it or not. Let me just update the Discord invite link. I probably should update it. Paste. If you guys don't know, I do have a Discord as well. If you want to get up to date with all the recent Flight Sim news, I also have a YouTube for all the VODs. So all my VODs, if you missed my videos and want to see more, I have a Discord. So don't be afraid. So it's good to have all you guys here. I appreciate everyone for being here. Thanks a lot. I really do mean it. I just play a bit of jazz since that's the only thing I could really fit for the 1920s. I don't think they listen to a lot of rock. I don't have epidemic sounds, unfortunately, so I can't really find any like the beat bands and all that. And I don't want to risk any copyright things if I use Amazon or Spotify, so I have to use the Twitch soundtrack. Just being honest. I use separate audio track for audio track and OBS. It's a year old now. Yeah, I was thinking about it, but the thing is, I already got the Twitch soundtrack thing face on its native instrument, so that's fine. Might as well have it. Glad to be here, bro. Thank you for the shout out. No worries, Coffee House. I'm so happy you finally got to caught up to one of my streams. I really appreciate it. Play music to live audio. One for game. Yeah, I also have the game audio too. I have the application audio output, so I have that as well. Trust me, on a 12-hour I might play whatever music I want matters. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you do a lot of the airline flights, Blue Mana Battery. First time I actually caught a stream when I'm off work, says Lee Dixon. Welcome, Lee Dixon. Good to see you. Good to see you, Lee Dixon. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate all you doing here. I've been playing around with the Oculus a decent amount. I found a new OpenXR NIS scaling tool. Nothing short of magic. Yeah, I saw it on one of your most recent streams. You were doing some VR stuff. Oh, they call me out on doing airline flights. No worry about airline flights. I completely understand. Airliners are a major part of aviation. There's nothing wrong with airliners. Because of like ASMR. The new scale to improve sharpness and quality like tenfold. It's pretty fun to see how fast VR's growing. Yeah, VR's grown. I remember back when I was younger, VR was nothing more than a gimmick. A lot of people said it was like a fad. But now it's actually greatly developed since the Coffee House. It's shown amazing growth. I did the 2 flight independent flights from Toronto in the 787. Nice. Yeah, the weather changes are really nice. In fact, one of the things I really like about the weather was I got a really cool new weather preset. It's called Weather Preset Pro. And it gives you over 50 different weather settings, and you can change the weather settings to what you feel like. And this is for $10 US around that, and it is amazing for the price. Pretty amazing for what you get for value. So much so. The other thing I have is that I crazy borrowed the Revert 2 headset from It was cool, but realized how much VR was a necessity until I had to play MSFS with pallets. Yeah, I never done Microsoft Flight Simulator with VR. I never done it before. So I should definitely try. Yeah, the SoFlight Weather Preset Pro. You can get it on Sim Market, Forbex, the SoFlight website. You get all those. Now, no need to do it today because it is sunny and we don't have much clouds. So Track IR is better in my opinion. Yeah, I'm also thinking about Track IR too. I'm not made of money, so I probably try to be a little cautious what I spent. I promise the first time you try, you'll be hooked. Yeah. I think my dad has a VR headset, I believe, but I'm not sure if it works on my Microsoft though. Less immersion, but streaming in general for better. Yeah, I probably want to give it a try at some point. Yeah, VR can be unmatched in terms of immersion. The immersion in VR can be unmatched. The thing I'm worried though about VR is I accidentally, I don't feel any of my cockpit setup and all that. Like, that would be my issues. I'm so used to just doing... I gave my kid my Oculus, but I need to sterilize it first. Yeah, no worries about sterilizing everything. There's nothing wrong with sterilization to clean things up. But once we cross the waypoint, we'll be almost 16 nautical miles to the end of our journey today. And don't worry, the scenery will get much better next leg. The next couple legs will be much better scenery. As the next couple legs will be going through a few hills, and then obviously the crown jewel of this trip, Lake Baikal. Russia's largest and most beautiful lake. I had the Alpha and Bravo and really had to memorize the Turin layouts. Yeah, I have the full Airbus TCA quadrant, and I now got the add-on for Christmas, so I now have the air brakes, the flaps, landing gear, parking brake, even the rudder trims. I got those too. So now I got the full setup. One thing about the Oculus is that you can use the control computer, all displays. It has a decent UI for control every screen for a multi-monitor PC. Yeah, that's from what I heard. So here it is. We're visiting the city of Autopilot. There's the actual city it is. Yeah, my stick broke recently, so you have no rudder. Oh no! No, 97, no, you have no rudder. No. No, I don't use stick for my rudder, Zep. I actually use I have dedicated rudder pedals underneath Zep, so that's how I use to control my rudder. The twist on the Launching 3D Pro is the best I've ever had. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't mind twist, but I rather have the dedicated pedals since I can both do rudder and brakes. So, looks like in this area they've done some mining and all that. Toe brake analog are almost major exclusive to rudder analog and priority for me. Yeah, I rather have the toe brakes at least. So over here is Autopilot, right here. Now in this area they probably did some They probably did some mining over here, I believe. Probably did some mining because I could tell from the deviation from the first terrain on the ground. I use the rocker on the opposite side of the throttle, meter brakes, and the reverse thruster. Ah. Yeah, everyone has a bit of a different setup. Everyone's setup's always a bit different. I don't know if you use rudder. I do have I'm trying to fix Arctic. I gotta get toe brake. I do. I have a Thrustmaster by pedals. I can change the rudder by minute. Not to you, sorry. It's fine. Get back, I got a tracker. There's me and Zep, I got the T-Team tracker. Oh. So let me go back, let me load in the ICAO code for our airport. Uniform. Shift UNAL, enter, accept, load. Okay, Krasnoyarsk International Airport. Some airport information. Yeah, from Wikipedia, the largest enterprise of the city is the aluminum plant belonging to the Bruchel Group. In addition, the city operates a cement plant which produces 2 tons of cement per year. Nice. So from our airport, we are our elevation is 942 feet. I think if we had to land runway, there's only one runway, but it's a massive 12,000 foot long runway. Okay, and then we have our METAR report. So according to the official METAR in real time, we have 5.5 miles of visibility, clear skies, with a temperature of -9 degrees Fahrenheit or -23 degrees Celsius. So if this was live wire, it would be completely clear. thrust is good. So now we'll get to the final slideshow for today. So our final slideshow and our final presentation is going to be the city of Krasnoyarsk. Now, Krasnoyarsk is the largest city and administrative center of its own federal subject. It's situated alongside the Yenisei River, and it's the third largest city in all of Siberia after Novosibirsk and Omsk, with a population over 1 million people. Now, this city is known as an important junction for the Trans-Siberian Railway, and is one of the largest producers of aluminum in the entire country. But the other thing the city is known for is its beautiful natural landscape. As Russian author Anton Chekhov said, he judged it to be the most beautiful city in all of Siberia. Some of its landmarks include the Stolby Nature Sanctuary, located 10 kilometers south of the city, alongside the Siberian Federal University, located there. Now, this city was founded back in 1628 and was given the city status in 1690. This area was really important as it represented Russian expansion into the basin during the 17th century, and it became a major important center of Siberia. During the aftermath of the Russian Revolution, this place became one of the major areas of the Whites during that time. And during the times of the Stalin era, it became a major center of the Gulag system, and one of the most important labor camps during the time was the Krasnoyarsk. The Krasnoyarsk from 1938 to 1960, 2 units. As well. There's also, in the 70s, the USSR built a phased array radar near the city, and it actually violated one of the international treaties of the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. So, two notable people from Krasnoyarsk is first famous writer Victor Ostafev, who was a Russian writer and playwright as well during the Soviet Union era, and then finally the last person is actually from German ancestry, but Helen Fischer actually was born in Krasnoyarsk in 1984, and she became one of the more well-known German artists. And she won multiple different Echo Awards, which is one of the outstanding achievements in the music industry of Germany. She sold at least 15 million records. And one of her albums, Farbenspiel, became the most downloaded album ever by a German artist as well. She was born in Krasnoyarsk. Pretty cool. Talk about the place. Now, one final thing is its main international airport. Krasnoyarsk International Airport was built all the way back in 1970, and it opened in 1980. It took 10 years for the airport to get constructed. It's actually the 14th largest airport based on traffic in all of Russia. Now, the location of this airport is unique as it's located right next to a smaller airfield, Trans-Siberian Airport. The reason this was unusual is because since Trans-Siberian is right next to the airfield, it can be confused. And that adds to the location because both airfields share the same runway variants. So it makes the two airports look like one. Which means the only way to distinguish the two is the fact the runway lengths are different. As Trans-Siberian has a shorter runway than Yelevenko, by the fact that no taxiway connects the two airfields. This airfield is big enough to handle over 50 types of passenger planes and freighters, including the Boeing 777, 767, 747, the Airbus A330s, and many others. Wow. And it's flown mainly by Aeroloft, Nordstar, and S7 Airlines. So that probably concludes today's slideshow. So we run on runway 11 or runway 29. We land on runway 11. Let's go land straight in at runway 11. Also, it's fine. Thrust is good for jets. I don't think props benefit from cold air. I don't think so. I've always thought you see politics with a coincidence. Oh, they share the same bearings. Yeah, you probably should fix it and don't mess up the runway. Yeah, make sure we don't have to worry about fixing it. But yeah, the fact they share the same bearings is definitely very confusing. Hey, Coffee House, you gotta run. Lunch is ready. Thank you so much, Coffee House, for coming by. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Coffee House, for coming to my channel. Thank you so much. And Blue Mana Battery's gonna work. No worries, Blue Mana Battery. So we have friends all in the Kodiak, and Count Seth, I believe, is either below me, or maybe he may be. Oh yeah, he's down over here. Yeah, you're lurking for me, bro. I was getting guidance to Coffee House. There yours up. Actually around 40 nautical miles away, so we're only 40 miles away. Not very far at all to complete the rest of the flight. Nos must have had quite the party back frontier. He only got 3 hours of sleep. He did, that was on the notes. We're getting near the river. if that's a gulag before me, what is it? Is it the things that pop up? So how do we refuel on this? Well, let me show you how we refuel. Right here, if you look at the wing on the engine thing on right here, this is where you read the fuel. Now, obviously, I can't really read the fuel that good. We read here. We got 70 gallons of fuel remaining. Yeah. Is that a fuel or oil? Oh, this thing? This thing is actually the oil, I believe. This is the oil on the Jeep. Yeah, that thing on top is oil. I mean, you're probably right. I'm just dumbfounded. Yeah, that's what they had to do designing the plane. Yeah. The one, like I said, this is the oil, and on the things right here, there's the oil for all three engines. Oil for engine number 1 with the fuel in liters. This here is the oil for the engine number 2. Where's the fuel level in the middle engine? The fuel level in the middle. Let me actually get to drone cam. The middle engine that's a good question. I believe it's somewhere in the cockpit, probably. Most likely, if I were to guess. It's probably, actually, here's the thing, the one to the middle, here's actually the thing, it's split by 2 main tanks. So the fuel in the engine is fueled by both these tanks. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's fueled by the middle, actually, on this thing. That's what you want to know. It's actually... The middle doesn't matter. No, the middle does not matter. The only thing that you should be worried about the middle is the oil temperature. Oil temperature is the thing that matters on the Junkers JV. That's it. That's the only thing that matters. Look at the cockpit above the stars, it's where Krasnov said was the fuel. Yeah. Above the stars is the fuel. So back then, it works or the American wins. Oh, wait. Yeah, right above the stars is the fuel gauge. Oh, that's where the compass just showed up. Weird. In the middle, there are 3 gauges. Oh, yeah. Right here. Right. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's the RPMs in minutes. And there's the fuel, right here. There are 3 gauges. Does anyone use Take-Hand? I don't use Take-Hand. This is all Dead Reckoning, by the way. And I think we're heading near the airport right now. We're not very far at all because we're right next to it. Our airport should be ahead of us. After this, I think we're going to rate Forder. I never rated his channel very much at all, so I think we're going to rate Forder and Supply. We're currently doing his awards, so we should probably rate his channel today. Porter, yeah, Porter on Supply. We're gonna rate his channel. So after this, I'm gonna have some pretty big plans. I'm probably gonna go out with my family, then work on next week's flight. And Nights Up, I did get your thing on Discord. I'm gonna do that next week. Go to fly over New Caledonia. Probably gonna take that F Model 7 for that flight, since it's a new plane. I guess he lives in Florida. Well, he also lives in Florida and Toronto. He lives in both of those places. He telling me in my future in 20 years. It'd take about 2 hours. Yeah. So we're getting pretty close. Now, basically, Krasnoyarsk, which is the main river, flows through the Yenisei River, which actually flows all the way to the northern part of Russia. And it's actually, believe it or not, the world's 5th longest river system in the entire world, and it's the largest drain to the Arctic Ocean. This river divides the western Siberian plain from the central Siberian plateau, the east, and it drains a large part of the central region of Siberia. It's one of the 3 large Siberian rivers that flow into the Arctic, being the Ob and the Lena rivers. Well, it's pretty shallow at 8 feet as well. And of course, it flows into Lake Baikal, the deepest known lake on the planet. And trust me, we'll get to Lake Baikal. Not this lake, but the next one. Is Learn to Fly part of the... No. He has his own community. Two-Toe Murphy's Flying Circus and his community are separate. But they do intermingle with each other time to time. But he's good friends with my community. There she is. There's the runway. I'm going to go ahead and take off the autopilot. And get ready to land. I think I have to predict command in the chat. I predict. Do we even know? Maybe. I mean, he's been featured with Murph in the Murph line, and they even did a collab stream. So, but -69. Let's give this a try, guys. Let's see if we can do it. 3,500 feet is kind of high. Oh, lowering the throttle. Do we know his community's nomenclature? Not really. Probably not. Flaps. Oh. We got this, guys. Let's see if we can land this beautiful Yonkers down on the ground. An idle. There we go. And we're down. 97 feet per second. Only 2 feet per second off. Basically, doesn't carry a lot. It carries fast due to the form. And there's for it's all in the Cody. And that's it. That's everyone down. Let me go ahead and get this thing to a stop. So welcome everyone. We made our way to Krasnoyarsk International Airport. We finally landed here. Took us about 3 hours and 3 minutes. Pretty nice time for everyone. So speaking about this journey, let's finish the notes. So when they reached the river, it reminded with all the red sandstone cliffs, it reminded him a lot of back home of his home of Germany. As he put it put him in a really festive mood in the sights of the land as they landed in the evening sun of the green airfield. By the local populations, members of the local youth organization, both boys and girls, pump fuel into the airplanes. The crew are invited into an evening feast on the island on the river, which can only be reached by motor launch. Nos excuse the pilots early on so they can get enough rest and stay to the end to be rewarded by a delicious sturgeon. After 2 hours of sleep, they take back off again and head to their next destination of Irkutsk, which would be next Sunday. So and guys, next Wednesday we're gonna have a great flight across New Caledonia in the Fokker F Model 7. So nice to put that suggestion. That's our piece of Russia done. Actually, we only got 2 more legs across Russia until we're done, until we head back to China. So thank you, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get our raid start of Order Learn to Fly. So thank you guys so much for to be here today. Thank you guys so much. But let's go ahead and raid Order's channel today. And I hope I get to see every one of you guys here soon. Thank you all so much. Viperstrike